Published, 7:10 EST, January 8, 2018. Updated, 12:31 EST, January 9, 2018. A homeowner who paid £2.2 million for a picturesque seaside home has raised the ire of neighbours after he applied to demolish it just 16 months later to create a state-of-the-art glass mansion. Millionaire Nigel Andrew bought the 100-year-old bungalow in 2016, but now wants to raze it to the ground to replace it with a grand design-style home. However, the plan has been blasted by locals, who are concerned the creation of such a home could ruin the area's natural beauty and eventually turn it into a millionaire's hunt, pricing out locals. Mr. Andrew snapped up the quaint 6-bedroom clifftop home called the Shanty in one of the most picturesque parts of North Wales, the Llyn Peninsula. The Shanty was the most expensive property sold in Wales in 2016, but it was the stunning site rather than the bungalow that led to such a high price. Millionaire Nigel Andrew bought the 100-year-old bungalow in 2016, but now wants to raze it to the ground to replace it with a grand design-style, glass-fronted home. The Shanty, pictured, was the most expensive property sold in Wales in 2016, but it was the stunning site rather than the bungalow that led to such a high price. There is direct access to an adjoining pathway with steps down to the sandy cove below, shown. Millionaire Nigel Andrew snapped up the quaint 6-bedroom clifftop home called the Shanty, shown, in one of the most sought-after parts of Wales on the Llyn Peninsula, North Wales. The latest plans, expected to be given the go-ahead by planning officials, would turn the somewhat outdated bungalow into a 3-story mansion. The design is expected to be approved by council planning chiefs despite objections from nearby residents. The design is expected to be approved by council planning chiefs despite objections from nearby residents. Several reasons were given by neighbours as to why the glass mansion should not be built on the site, including that it does not fit in with the surrounding buildings and its location on a prominent cliff next to a local beach. Other reasons included proposed house not in keeping with the village or area. Similar developments likely to raise the area's house prices beyond the reach of local people. Concerns about the proposal's impact on the public footpath. Recent developments have impaired the public's enjoyment of the adjacent public footpath. The building should stay as it is, and it is a part of the village's history. Overdevelopment of a restricted site. A 3-story building is too high and higher than nearby houses. The development disrupts the coast and a beautiful area. Several reasons were given by neighbours as to why the glass mansion should not be built on the site, with many concerned that the proposal would likely to raise the area's house prices beyond the reach of local people. Llyn Community Council also opposed the plans, saying, "We object due to overdevelopment which will overwhelm the site on a cliff that can be seen from all directions, land and sea, and which is incompatible with the remainder of the surrounding houses." Original plans to build a towering, bold, high-quality home on the site in Aberystwyth were rejected by planners, but architects have now scaled down the plans. Mr. Andrew wants to raise the current property to the ground so it can be replaced with the 3-story glass-fronted design, a report by Andy Foster Architects said. The Shanty is the largest of the headland residential properties and is possibly the last of the clifftop dwellings to be redeveloped. The location is also within an area of outstanding natural beauty and the heritage coast. But the revised plans are set to be approved by Gwynedd County Council when its planning committee meets on January 15. A planning report states, having weighed out the proposal in the context of the relevant policies and the objectors' arguments, it is considered that the proposal is acceptable for approval. The location, density and increase in size are reasonable and the design and materials are an improvement for an open site of this type. Bearing in mind that there is already a dwelling on the site, and several other houses on either side of it, there will be no substantial change to the landscape of the Aon or any views of, and across it, or any significant substantial impact on the amenities of nearby residents. Before the sale in 2016, Estate agents said the modest property built in extravagant settings had been in the same family since the 1920s. A planning application submitted with the proposal suggested the Shanty was the largest of the neighbouring properties and perhaps the last of the clifftop dwellings to be redeveloped. Original plans to build a towering, bold, high-quality home on the site in Abersoch were rejected by planners, but architects have now scaled down the plans. Interiors of the bungalow show a dated appearance, which is likely to change should the plans be given the go-ahead. The design is expected to be approved by council planning chiefs despite objections from nearby residents. Planning documents show how the home will be positioned higher up the cliff edge, providing an even more spectacular view of the surrounding scenery. Several reasons were given by neighbours in Abersoch, shown, as to why the glass mansion should not be built on the site, including that it does not fit in with the surrounding buildings and its location on a prominent cliff next to a local beach. In light of the above, and having given full consideration to all material planning issues, it is considered that this proposal is acceptable. Before the sale in 2016, estate agents said the property had been in the same family since the 1920s. A description said, "The interior is very much a step back in time, although there have been a number of modern improvements. When relaxing either inside or out, one is simply mesmerized by the truly spectacular views." Occupying a gently sloping, two-tiered site jutting into the bay, it is possibly the largest on this rocky cliff top and offers 180-degree views over Abersoch moorings and St Tutwall's Islands across Cardigan Bay to Snowdonia. There is direct access to an adjoining pathway with steps down to the sandy cove below. At low tide the beach extends in each direction to the outer harbour and Abersoch main beach. The interior is very much a step back in time, although there have been a number of modern improvements. According to the planning report, Llyn Community Council is opposing the plans, saying the proposal represents an overdevelopment on the cliff site. Pictured, a view of the peninsula from the home.